NaLyssa Smith's shocking reaction to her coach, Christy Sides, being fired has everyone talking. Once ready to leave the Indiana Fever, she's now showing she wants to stay, leaving fans stunned and sparking serious questions. Why did her attitude change so quickly? Was her issue with the team, or was it really just with Sides?
Hilarious. The situation is absolutely hilarious, and it's been something that has just been a one woman tirade against not even an or ma'am. Everything between NaLyssa Smith and the Fever has been.
With rumors of Stephanie White as a possible replacement coach, Smith might finally be able to play the way she wants, aggressive and unrestricted. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Buckle up, because this story has more twists than anyone expected. Let's dive in. Once seen as a potential face of the franchise, NaLyssa Smith was suddenly hinting at a departure after a turbulent 2024 season. It was a move that left fans scratching their heads. Why would a player with so much potential, averaging a double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds, suddenly consider leaving? Many pointed to her rocky relationship with head coach Christy Sides. Smith wasn't hiding her feelings either. Her social media was full of subtle signs. She liked tweets criticizing Sides, and her bio was wiped clean of any mention of the Indiana Fever as soon as their playoff run ended. Smith's issues with Sides weren't just personal. They seemed to run deep into her gameplay. Under Sides' guidance, Smith felt her role was restricted. Rather than allowing her to attack the basket and use her natural athleticism, Sides' strategy focused on spacing, a style that felt like a cage to Smith. This frustration with a rigid play style, combined with public signs of discontent, created a cloud over Smith's future with the Fever. Her brother and her girlfriend, Dejanai Carrington, took to social media too, sharing their opinions and supporting her stance against Sides' coaching approach. When Indiana was eliminated from the playoffs, Smith's actions were loud and clear. She removed every mention of the team from her profile, an unmistakable move in today's social media-driven world of sports. The message was unmistakable. She was ready to go. Fans and analysts alike speculated that her dissatisfaction with Sides had reached a point of no return. Her performance was solid, some might say even remarkable, but the disconnect with her coach overshadowed her achievements. Many began to believe that if Sides stayed, Smith would be out. Then, out of the blue, the Indiana Fever announced Sides was fired. The news seemed to shake the WNBA community, but no one was more affected than Smith.
And I mean this, the second Christy Sides got fired,
Suddenly, her profile was updated, and Indiana Fever returned to her bio. The timing couldn't have been more obvious. Smith's primary issue wasn't the team, it was the coach. The firing of Sides appeared to be a breath of fresh air, a sign that things might change for the better. But why was she so ready to stay now? And what did Sides do to make Smith feel so restricted? Smith's shift in attitude wasn't just about the coaching style. It seemed tied to a deep-seated desire to finally unlock her potential. Under Sides, her role didn't reflect her skills or her natural instincts as a player. Many fans had noticed that she was constantly playing a role that didn't let her shine. A player with her stats and potential wasn't being allowed to play her own game, and it was affecting her love for the team. Smith's athleticism and skill set begged for a coaching style that would allow her to push limits, take risks, and attack the basket with intensity. But Sides' philosophy kept her restrained, and it seemed to wear her down as the season progressed. Social media quickly picked up on the clues. Smith liked tweets criticizing Sides' tactics, hinting that the style imposed on her was far from what she wanted. The frustration was growing, not just in Smith, but among fans who knew she had much more to give. Then came the dramatic moves, post-playoff removing the Fever from her bio and sharing hints that she might be ready to leave. For fans who followed the team and Smith's journey, it was heartbreaking. The potential they saw in her was undeniable. Yet here was a player considering a departure due to a coach's rigid approach. The bigger twist came with the news of Sides' firing. Within hours of the announcement, Smith's bio was updated again, signaling a shift in her mindset. It was as if a weight had been lifted, a chance for a fresh start within the same team. Suddenly, the Indiana Fever had a new energy. Speculations began swirling around Stephanie White, a coach known for her flexible and attacking style, a style that could be the key to unlocking Smith's full potential. White's approach could mean freedom for Smith, a chance to be aggressive, use her athleticism, and become the player she's been aching to be. Fans could already feel the potential of this new era. But the story doesn't stop there. Even with the possibility of White stepping in, there's still the question of Smith's future. Is her renewed interest in the Fever purely about wanting to stay, or is she being strategic? Smith's numbers, with an impressive average of 15 points and 10 rebounds, make her a valuable asset. For Indiana, she could be a cornerstone as they build for the future, but the Fever also have options. Smith's high trade value could make her an asset they could leverage to bring in another high-impact player. So, while Smith may want to stay, Indiana could consider trading her for the right opportunity. The stakes are high, and the team's decision will reflect what they value more: Smith's long-term potential or the immediate benefits she could bring in a trade. Smith's relationship with her girlfriend, Dejanai Carrington, adds another layer to this unfolding drama. Carrington has been outspoken in her support of Smith, even criticizing Sides' coaching approach publicly. As a close ally, Carrington's influence on Smith's decisions could be a factor, especially if a new coach like White steps in. White's coaching style could bring out the best in Smith, and Carrington, seeing this new opportunity for her partner, may encourage her to stick around and see how things play out under fresh leadership. The league dynamics, friendships, and rivalries will only add more twists to this story as it unfolds. And then there's the upcoming free agency. As Indiana Fever looks to strengthen its roster, Smith's future with the team will be closely watched. Her performance stats make her an attractive player, both to Indiana and to other teams. With standout rookies like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston already shaping the Fever's future, the question remains: will Smith fit into this new roster vision, or will she be a bargaining chip for something bigger? Indiana's flexibility with their roster could mean either a renewed commitment to Smith or a potential trade to build an even stronger team. The fans have a lot invested in Smith, and their hopes are tied to her decision. They've seen what she can do, and they're eager to see her play under a coach who understands her strengths. The anticipation builds as free agency approaches, and every move Smith makes is under the spotlight. For now, one thing is clear. With Sides gone, Smith has more reason to stay than she's had in a long time. But as she weighs her options, Indiana Fever is at a crossroads too. The crossroads the Indiana Fever find themselves at is significant, and fans are holding their breath to see which path they'll choose. For Smith, the firing of Sides has opened the door to possibilities she hadn't had under the old coaching regime. A player with her talents doesn't just want to fit into a system. She wants to be the focal point, to shine. And now, with a coaching change on the horizon, there's potential for her to finally play in a system that highlights her strengths rather than holds her back. Stephanie White's rumored appointment has added even more fuel to the excitement. White, known for her attacking and flexible approach, would bring a completely different philosophy to the Fever. This isn't just talk. Her coaching style has proven successful in bringing out the best in players who thrive on movement, intensity, and aggressive play. For Smith, this could be her chance to take her game to the next level. She'd have the freedom to drive to the basket, showcase her athleticism, and be a constant threat on the court. Under White's guidance, Smith could transform from a solid player into a star. But here's where things get interesting. Even with White potentially stepping in, the Fever have a lot to consider about Smith's future. Her performance last season showed she has what it takes, but her trade value is undeniable. If Indiana were to make her available, she could bring in big offers from teams looking for a high-impact player. With the Fever looking to build around rookies like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, management might wonder if Smith is the right fit for their vision, or if her value lies in a trade that could secure additional assets. It's a tough choice that will reveal a lot about the Fever's priorities and their commitment to winning. Smith's renewed commitment to the Fever, as shown by her updated social media profile, signals that she's open to staying, but it's not necessarily a permanent decision. In professional sports, loyalty can shift quickly. If Indiana doesn't demonstrate that they're willing to build a team and strategy around her strengths, she might reconsider her options. In a league where talented players are always in demand, Smith could find a fresh start somewhere else if Indiana can't offer her the support she needs. It's a delicate balance, and both Smith and the Fever are navigating this with the stakes higher than ever. And we can't forget the role her support system plays in all of this. Smith's girlfriend, Dejanai Carrington, has been her most vocal supporter, and her loyalty has made waves on social media. Carrington's public criticism of sides and backing of Smith suggests she'll play a part in Smith's future decisions. If White steps in, bringing a coaching style that suits Smith's game, Carrington might see this as an opportunity for her partner to reach new heights. In the league, personal relationships often influence career choices, and Carrington's support could strengthen Smith's desire to stay in Indiana and build something great. But if things go south, Carrington might just encourage her to consider a new team where she can thrive without compromise. The Fever's decision to fire sides shows that they're not afraid to make bold moves, and the fans are watching closely to see if this is the start of a new era. Indiana hasn't had the strongest track record in recent years, but with young talents like Clark and Boston, the potential for a turnaround is there. Smith's presence would add a critical piece to that puzzle, but it has to be the right fit. Fans know that, and so does Smith. She's not going to stick around if it means compromising her potential, especially after seeing how limiting a restrictive coaching style can be. As we approach the free agency period, Indiana Fever's management will face some tough calls. They have to weigh the benefits of keeping Smith against the value she could bring in a trade. If they commit to her and bring in White, the Fever could build an aggressive, dynamic team centered around Smith, Clark, and Boston, a core that could potentially bring them back into contention. However, if they view her as a trade asset, they might look for a star player or additional draft picks to complement their rising stars. This is a high-stakes decision that could shape the Fever's future, either creating a strong, balanced roster or losing Smith to a competitor willing to bet on her talent. Fans are invested in Smith's journey, not just because of her performance, but because she's shown resilience through a challenging season. Her willingness to consider staying after the firing of sides speaks volumes about her commitment to the game and her openness to a fresh start within the same team. But the reality of professional sports is that loyalty only goes so far. The Fever need to demonstrate they're just as committed to Smith as she's been to them. Otherwise, she might explore opportunities where her skills and potential are fully appreciated, without any restrictions. At the end of the day, this decision will shape the Fever's trajectory, either building a solid foundation with Smith as a central piece or using her to secure additional assets. The fans are ready to support her, but they're also realistic. They know that keeping Smith means building around her strengths, allowing her to play the game on her terms. They don't want to see her held back again, and they'll be closely watching to see if the Fever can step up to the challenge. It's a pivotal moment for both Smith and Indiana, a moment where loyalty, potential, and ambition all collide. And so, as the dust settles on sides' firing, we're left with more questions than answers. Will Smith's renewed commitment lead to a long-term role with the Fever? Or is this just a strategic move, with both sides weighing their options before free agency kicks off? The stakes are high, and with Stephanie White potentially joining the coaching staff, there's a sense of anticipation in the air. The Fever have a chance to rebuild, to transform into a competitive force, but it all starts with this decision on Smith. If they get it right, Indiana Fever could become a team to watch. If they don't, they risk losing a player who could be the key to their future. The fans are watching, and they'll be the first to celebrate if the Fever can make it work with Smith at the center. But they're also prepared to see her go if Indiana can't meet her halfway. With free agency looming and new possibilities on the horizon, one thing is clear: NaLyssa Smith's journey with the Fever is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be the most exciting one yet. The question now is, are the Fever ready to commit to Smith in the way she's hoping? Or will they let one of the league's brightest talents slip through their fingers? This isn't just about stats or team strategy. It's about a player finding her place, a team embracing change, and a fan base that's hungry for something to believe in. Smith's decision to stay or go will set the tone for the Fever's future, and right now, all eyes are on Indiana. So, as we count down to free agency, the stakes couldn't be higher. Whether Smith stays or becomes the next big trade, her impact on the Fever and the league will be remembered. And in this ever-changing landscape of professional sports, that's what makes this story so compelling.